One of the big things that we struggle with is that we have always sexualized a woman's body. Yeah. And unfortunately, it can be sexual, it's allowed to be sexual, but that is not our core purpose. We're not on this planet for the purpose of male pleasure.
Welcome to the new series, Cocktails and Conversation with Kat and Nat.
And we've decided to bring you all of these conversations with people that we like to have, where there's a little bit of wisdom, always hilarity and hilaria. Yes. Some famous, some just cool, some drink, some don't drink, but there's always a conversation.
Cheers, join us.
We're literally told, like, to be the mom who's like, and then we'll do like 5-step recipes, and then we'll do how to do organizational baskets.
Like that you didn't though, or like it wasn't all of you. Like you guys have so many This is the one thing I actually really like about you guys is that I felt like you are moms who I don't identify you by your children.
Yeah.
And that was hard because especially as my kids got older, they wanted to be online less, and that became really hard because I was like, where's my identity beyond being a mom?
Yeah.
And that's a really hard space when you're like, I'm a mom, but that is not who I am. Like that is a facet of me, but it is not my life's purpose.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's why don't we like...
Have we started?
Yeah, we've been starting for a while. You want to pop that first?
Did you tell me we started?
All right, you don't need to be told.
Okay, so first, obviously, we want to ask...
You don't need an introduction.
Her?
Yeah, Birds Papaya.
Well,
Sarah.
Maybe.
Okay, maybe she does.
If you don't know her, turn this off immediately because you know nothing. You're living under a rock.
You know what? Turn it on, and then you can. And then it's got very. You know what we did before we popped this? So Nat lives beside a cemetery.
Yeah, I noticed.
We put this we were doing a Facebook Live in the cemetery, and we put this in the snow.
And as I put it in the snow, I said to Kat, what are the chances we forget this in the cemetery? And she said, very high.
So we forgot it in the cemetery. So we had to go unbury it in the cemetery.
So
it's
a zombie champagne.
It is as our life, a little bit of a shit show.
It's a spirit. It's a real.
We're gonna unleash it.
So this bottle is because we like to do drinks during these conversations, but also to celebrate that you got 1 million followers on Instagram last night, friends. And what I was saying is, when our Facebook Live is, it's not like you're one of those like people who had couple crazy things go viral and then you got 1 million. This has been 12 years in the making of hard work and amazing content and everything. So let's celebrate. Pop that shit in the old school way.
Okay, right.
Don't hit the camera.
By the way, I got these for Christmas 2 years ago. The stickers are still on. As you do!
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. She's take this.
It was a surprise. Also, this is my whole life. Like everyone's like, I'm really bad.
I guess I don't do myself first, right? Okay, Kat, focus.
What's your whole life? Getting a job?
I always leave stickers on things.
Oh, I know.
Like, Sarah, just because you thrifted it, you don't need to leave like the $4.99 sticker on it.
Wait, I have to tell you, my neighbors still have their window stickers on their windows. Like on every single
But I told her, I'm like, that's something that would happen. When you leave things too long, you just get used to them.
Well, I was like, that's so long. All right, so we're going to cheers to just life.
This always happens in my dishwasher, and apparently it's because of the angle I put them in my dishwasher.
Do you do champagne?
Occasionally, yeah.
We'll just do a little. It's not real.
I'll drink the rest.
Yeah, now I'll do it first.
Cheers! Congratulations!
I'm a super lightweight, so I have to do it very...
Yes, me too. Yeah, and wine keeps giving me headaches, so champagne I'm usually okay with, but yeah, it's really
it's cheers. I don't like it.
Well, just hold it, for God's sakes.
I'm going to put it down.
Could you tell us who you are and what you do?
So my name is Sarah Nicole. Are
you Sarah Nicole? Or
yeah,
just Sarah?
So I am just Sarah, but I went by Sarah Nicole long enough that now I am kind of Sarah Nicole because when I got divorced, I didn't know what to identify myself as because I either had to go back to my maiden name, which was corny, like actually corny, not just like, oh, it was so corny. That actually was it. So I couldn't go back.
I'm not laughing.
My mom was like, no, I totally understand. Like, please don't do that. And so I didn't know what to do because I either had to carry my ex-husband's name or go back to my maiden name. So, and it had been like 11, 12 years, so I just went to Sarah Nicole.
So that's your last name?
No, but then I got married. But for years, I only was identified as Sarah Nicole online because I didn't know what else. I couldn't just be Sarah. So I went Sarah Nicole, and now I'm married, so I'm Sarah Nicole Landry.
Oh, Landry's
your
nice.
middle name, or did you make that up? Okay, I was like, did you just
imagine? It's my Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, no, I wear Kat and Nat, no last names.
No.
Just Kat and Nat.
That's our signature.
So we have here, okay, I'm going to tell you a quick story. I don't
Wait,
know.
did she finish? She just said her name was Sarah Nicole, and then she didn't finish.
So I began blogging 12 years ago, honestly, just out of boredom and motherhood. I felt like I needed something beyond my kids. I wanted to feel creative, and I started to really find community online from a lot of other like craft mummy bloggers, and so I was like, I could do this. So I started doing that, and it really evolved. And the things that I thought I was going to do, like I thought my impacts were going to be in, the crafts that I would make that would maybe go viral on Pinterest. But
are you really good at crafting?
No, I'm horrible, but I really tried. And I had no money, so it was like a lot of just like stuff from the thrift store that I spray painted and was really excited about. But regardless, it wasn't that really carried me through. It was the community building. It was that was what I really loved about it. It wasn't what I was bringing to the table. It was what I was connecting with and the people I was connecting with. So 12 years later, I then went through on Instagram, I went through a big weight loss, and then I had a lot of struggles with body dysmorphia, a lot of issues with disordered eating.
What does that mean?
It just means how you see your body. So for example, I was 225 pounds, lost weight and went down to 114 pounds. So I actually was incredibly thin in a size 0.
And you're tall.
And I'm tall. So I was very, very thin. When you look now, people are very shocked to see it. But at the time, all I saw was that I was still big. I still struggled with my size. I actually had more anxiety around my body than I did before, because for many people, losing weight and dieting is a really healthy activity that they do. And for 25 to 35% of people, it actually goes into a form of a disorder. And that was what I fell into.
Is that because of the dieting and exercise rather than because I have a family member who from a very young age, like in and out of hospital, and it was always taught to me that it was more about control.
Yes, so it can be one or the other. So but for me, it was very much because my body now was this performance track of this validation that I was feeling online. And when you've built your platform and you're finally growing off of this one message, I didn't have anywhere else to go. So I honestly broke down. I was going through a divorce. I lost even more weight. The stress of it was unreal.
Because you felt the pressure to keep thin for your followers.
And I was doing it and the thing is, I had gotten so thin because a lot of the things that people weren't seeing, like how overworked I was, how stressed I was, how my marriage was failing. There's so much going on, and I was continuing to lose weight. And 3 kids, yeah, that too. So after my divorce, I really had to face some like serious demons in the fact of like what I was projecting online wasn't honest and it wasn't true, and I was so tired. I was tired of this, and I was tired of obsessing about my body like it was the most important part of me, and I knew that there had to be more, and I knew I was going to have to gain weight, and I knew that all these things had to happen.
Why did you know you were going to have to gain weight?
Because I was so thin and I couldn't maintain that. Yeah.
Because we've been following you since
like early days.
Days, and we wanted to collab with you way back then.
I know.
And Brianna, the Bikini Body Mummy, was like, to be honest with you, her social anxiety is so through the roof. Yeah, she'll never come.
And we were like, and then you were really shy.
Well, I had a lot of it. Like there was definitely, I didn't even know how to bridge into the world of, I was doing everything on my own at home, being a stay-at-home mom, and then breaking into this whole world that's incredibly out there. I'm a very extroverted person, but when your anxiety is so built up around what you look like, and your whole platform is around what you look like, try and leave the house. When you've been face-tuning your body, when you're 114 pounds, you're still not happy, your whole platform is built on this one thing, you've just got to keep it steady and keep it alive, and it was hard as hell. So after all of that, and there's people like Brianna who literally, the salt of the earth kind of people who stuck with me through that. They must have seen how bad I was. They must have seen how hard it was, and they didn't judge me. They just kind of held my hand through it. And then when I came through, these are still my friends today, right? So after all of that, I really realized that a big part of what was missing for me is that I wasn't seeing different bodies that felt like I was ever represented, and through a series of events chose to kind of start showing up that way because I realized how much it benefited me to see that and be exposed to it. We're very saturated with the singular image of a woman. We're not very saturated with the other side of things and what the rest of the population looks like. So I started doing it for me to kind of free. There's this like saying where once a secret is told, it loses its power. And that's how I felt about my body. If I hid it, nobody would know and I'd be okay. And the more I shared, the more vulnerable I became, the less I thought about my body, the less I prioritized it as the most important part of me, the more I could exist in my life, the more I could actually step into my kids' childhood and be a participant of it and not just like a sideliner. it just allowed me to be more present through like these acts of, I don't know, vulnerability online, and it really championed a lot of conversations that more than my body, I was able to talk about, the uncomfortableness of divorce and shared custody and, things like assault and just all of these different things that have kind of everything that's as it's happening is what I'll talk about and what I try and like journey through and create a platform to talk about, because like we talked about pigeonholing, I don't ever want to be identified for my body again. And while I realize I'm pushing the pendulum the other way now, I also don't want to be only identified as that, because I'm going to grow away from that. I'm going to grow as a human. I'm going to grow as a woman, and I want to continually evolve and have an audience that supports me in that. So I've been so blessed.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we're anomalies in that we don't have a lot of attention on our. I don't know why, but we don't over focus on our bodies.
Yes.
Super.
You guys did a great video about it too. You did a whole one about the mom truths of like not obsessing about our body so much.
I don't know if it's because of how we grew up in the fact that we're just grateful for being alive.
Yeah,
like really, like that's where we come. Like we're like, I woke up today. We're pretty fucking lucky. Like we saw our moms, single moms. And that's why I think we're so passionate about single moms, because I think that you sometimes it feels like having extra thoughts is almost a privilege, because most of the moms we meet are fucking making it through the day and trying to survive and feed their kids, right?
Yes.
And I think for us, we saw our moms literally making it through the day and just trying to feed us.
Like imagine the privilege of having time to think about
things
like superficial shit.
And even mom guilt, right?
Yeah.
It's a privilege to be able to be like, I feel guilty I couldn't be home tonight for dinner.
Yes.
Where most moms are like, I fucking did this all. Like, you're so lucky. To us, some of it's a privilege to have those thoughts, right? And I remember my mom told me recently, and she's like, I never ever said this, but she's like, at one point, remember I told you she sat on the train tracks and thought, what if I don't go home tonight? And I was like, when I was like, I never saw you that way.
Yeah.
And you were thinking you weren't enough just throughout the day. And I was like, holy fuck. That you hit, what did you hide? But it was so much more about just showing up every day versus.
Absolutely.
So I think for the conversation is so confusing for so many, because not only do they not feel enough in just the way they look, it's not enough in every way, right?
Exactly. Like, and this is the whole thing, and why I love to I actually don't label myself as body positive. A lot of people will label me as that, but I don't really super identify with that, because I think it's just another thing that we fail at.
Yeah.
It's just another thing that we feel, well, I don't love myself, so am I failing at that too?
Right.
Like, crap. So I really like to go around, how do we stop thinking about our body so much? How do we actually exist a lot more? And I will say, like especially into that single motherhood thing, I was a single mom for like 3 years, and I would say for the longest time I always felt really bad for single moms. Like I had a lot of empathy for them, like how hard they must have it. It must be. I have never felt stronger and more capable to take on the world as I did in that season. And I think the one thing is that it's what happens for so many women is they get stuck because they're so afraid. They're stuck in bad relationships and situations because they're so afraid what that all those years might look like. And yeah, it's hard as hell, but there's something about waking up and doing it that is so amazing, because you're like, nothing can stop me because I'm doing this every day. I'm working 2 jobs, got the 3 kids, we're alive, we're well, we have a village helping us. Like I had my parents involved in, I mean, it's not easy, and there's part of me that still, like, my heart will always align with them so much. But yeah, it is really like a go, and it's not a lot of extra time to think about all of the other things.
And also we I think we identify with being able to, we choose our partners, we don't need them.
Yes, that's a huge thing.
Kind of hard for them sometimes. Yeah, we said it, and they were like pardon
our husbands.
Yeah. I go, we don't need you, but we choose you. And that is a really fucking, we could do it on our own.
Yeah.
Like we
but
could
some people really do need their partners.
Oh, yeah, that they really do need their, and what you're saying is the empowerment. You can also feel empowered in a relationship.
We should never feel, I guess for me, is I don't ever want a woman to feel like because she feels like she's incapable of being on her own, that's why she's in a relationship.
Right.
Yes, totally.
And for me, at the time, I had been a stay-at-home mom for 10 years. I had no education. I had no career under my belt. And now I am living at my parents' house at 30 with 3 kids, How the hell am I
how
gonna
did
start
all
from
these years,
here?
so there's 10 years there, there's 3 years to go. You've been married, like, were you 12 when you got married?
I was 19.
Okay.
So
That's
I
pretty young.
was 19, got divorced at 30. I had all 3 kids by the time I was 25. So I'm 35 now. My youngest is about to turn 10. So I mean, this has been about, like it's been a good, I feel like when Instagram hit was like right at the crux of like my life imploding and kind of like building a new foundation. So it's been a really important thing to be incredibly authentic about, incredibly vulnerable about, because not a lot of people have the ability to share in the moment of those things happening. Reflectively, we can a lot. And I don't talk about the reasons why around my divorce because there are children involved.
Oh my God, would totally understand.
But yeah, like there's a lot. I love having choice in my relationship. I love waking up every day and choosing that same person over and over again. I love that we have that I know that I'm going to be okay because I did it once.
Yeah.
But I don't ever want to see a woman be stuck in something because she thinks she can't, because I'm like the epitome of someone who shouldn't have been able to.
Huh. That's good advice. I mean, a lot of women must be really scared to leave.
So a lot of people are like, how did you get the courage to leave? And I was like, okay, so I said I want a divorce, and 3 years later I actually did it. So there is a huge gap, and what a lot of people, there's a grieving process, and there's a lot of things like, what about the house and what about the car?
Yes.
And the thing is, this is what happens over and over and over again, and a huge part of it actually does come, our bodies do come into play a little bit, because if you actually struggle at the end of the day of how you look at yourself as a raw human being, it actually can affect how you think of yourself outside of those things.
Totally.
So if you don't think that you have worth in your body, why would you think that you have worth in your job? Why would you think you have worth in your relationship? Why would you think you have worth in all of these other facets of your life if you're not willing to see yourself as just a core human of worth? So it really took a lot of work through understanding my value and understanding my worth to start stepping into that. I mean, therapy, years of like conversations, good friends, like I had to talk to my parents after hiding things for so many years.
There was a relationship.
Yeah, like there were plans set in place. Like I knew I had somewhere to go, but it was a strange. When I actually did leave, it was literally a very calm Wednesday. Picked up the kids from school, took them to my mom's house, explained it all within an hour. Everything, I expected it to be like this explosive moment, but it was actually really calm. It was a decision that I knew I needed to make. And as soon as it was made, it wasn't like this wavering. It was like, no, I'm very confident in this decision. I did go through the process of mourning, you know what, I'm going to lose my home.
While you were
what,
journeying it, right? Probably while you were like, I also heard when I was in school that a divorce is harder than death, actually, because that person is still there every single day.
Yeah.
So if it's not, maybe like if there's not an end, and you have to navigate that
your relationship just changes.
Post, and you're like, I still have to deal with you.
Yeah.
And and if there's a death, it's closure. It's like I can grieve. Is it easier? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's often the grief is still the same, but the grief can go on for years. Then when they remarry, if they get another child, and you're like, oh my God, I had this life with you, and now it's So it's not. I guess the point is, you're saying it's not easy. It's not as easy as like, I'm leaving I'm going to get a divorce and be great. It's like,
and I had like literally gotten out of high school, got engaged, got married. So straight from my parents' house into a maritable home.
Maritable.
We're making up
we
words.
have no.
I had one sip of champagne.
There we go.
But and you had your parents to help you when you did leave.
Yes.
Growing up, what was your relationship like with your mom?
So my mom was like the Mother Goose cross with Martha Stewart of parents.
Oh.
Yeah, she was an early childhood educator. So I grew up with every single week of my childhood being themed. And in our family, the women were they ruled. The women were the center of the family, right? So in our family, it's always the women, always the women, always the women.
Wait, did you have brothers and sisters?
No, just my one sister, and then my dad is an incredible being, and he just loves my mom so much. So I grew up in such a healthy home and such healthy. Like there was a lot that my mom, it's funny because my mom is the kindest human. Whenever we talk about hurt people, I can't align to that because my mom is one of the people who was hurt the most in life and is the kindest, most loving human. So she made choices every day to show up for us. And it's funny because she struggled in her weight our whole life because of her trauma really showing on her body. And it's funny because I think about my childhood, and this is always a reminder for me. I don't remember my mom for her thighs. I don't remember her for her cellulite. I don't remember her for her body. I remember her for mom. I remember for how she loved me. And I think as mothers, we really have to remember that, stepping into how we speak about ourselves around our children, because like that's our narrative that becomes their narrative. But I grew up in an incredibly great home, great family. They were nothing but supportive. Every week of my childhood was themed between like planets, like Pioneer Week, we learned to make butter, like
no pressure.
It was and I'm nothing like that. So that was it was so weird to have a mother and she's so organized, and my room was always like the room that looked like a bomb went off in it.
Yeah.
So I grew up never really identifying with my mom for how she did as like a mom, and how she ran a home, and how she could craft. And
is your sister like her?
A little, yeah. I would say she is more like her in that way, and I'm more like her in personality. But as I came into motherhood, it shook me because I'm like, I don't like Play-Doh.
That's hard.
I don't like crafts. I don't like this. I want to just go to, like, my son was my favorite because he was like, can we go to Target today? Like when we had Target. But that was like, I loved having a kid that loved doing adult things. And I struggled with mommy groups. I struggled with, like, because I was like, I need like the fringe women. I need the women who are taking their laptops to the park to like work, and like their kids are going to play. Like I had to find the women who I connected with. It was so
We always
hard.
say, like, you know, they're like, get down on the floor and play with your kids. But I'm a grown up. I have no interest in playing that toy. You're a kid. You play with that toy. You do that puzzle. This isn't fun for me.
I couldn't identify that. And I was a stay-at-home mom. So here I was, and I had to redefine what parenting looked like for me. And it was so different than what I looked like growing up. Right. And yet again, I was also in a relationship that looked nothing like the one I grew up in.
Oh.
So there was a lot of like, that was really hard.
What did you do when you said you were getting married at 19?
You know, when you're 19 and you're already trying to prove yourself, there was no listening to that. And I remember the engagement at one point was off, and all I could think about was how the invitations were already out, and I needed to not let people down. It's so crazy that at 19, that was my biggest concern, was the invitations are out, and how am I going to like go
Was he 19 too?
No, he was like 22 or 23.
Okay.
So yeah, there was just a lot of factors there, but it's amazing how you can be raised one way and then fall into a totally different situation,
right?
Thank
God they let you be. Like, I think that so many parents, so many parents personalize their children like as when they're not like you, or when they're different, and you feel like, you know, you're somehow like a bad mom because maybe they are off the rails for like we went off the rails, so we understand.
When you went off the rails, did you feel like your parents felt like I know they weren't, they were busy. But I feel like when I went off the rails, I don't feel like I felt like my mom was like that she had done a bad job. I think she was just like, get your shit together, Natalie. Like, that's it. Like, come on.
But
not like beat herself up about it.
So that I think they were like, good luck. Like, it was very hands off. It was kind of like, you'll sail this ship and good, like, I mean,
it worked out.
Yeah, so. They very much left me to my own devices, which was not. There was 5 kids in my family, and my parents went away every weekend.
Okay, wow.
And I was like, 12.
I like them.
So did I. And I was 12, and they would roll out, and the party would, because everyone was a teenager, and I was the youngest of the teenager. And
I remember coming to your house, and I don't remember seeing parents.
Every Friday, so we had it down to a science. And so I was the 12-year-old drunk with the teenagers.
Oh my gosh.
I was bad. That was really bad.
But you know what's so crazy when you think about that stuff is like, as parents, we put so much pressure on ourselves to like be there and be present and do all these things. Yet her and her brother, all the people that grew up in that house, very successful now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you are who you are because of this stuff too, right? And I think this is the huge part of what everyone kind of. We look at success as like the most important thing in our lives. How can I be a successful mom, a successful wife, a successful homemaker, successful in my business? And the fact is, a lot of us need to fail. We need to fail a lot of times, and that's what builds our success, and that's what builds who we are. Mm-hmm. So like, you having all of those experiences didn't make your parents bad parents at all.
No.
You had those experiences, and it actually somehow built into who you are now.
It did, but let me tell you, they weren't at the dinner table with their friends talking about what are like, it's successful once you're through it. But as a mom going through it, no one's like, preaching to the choir, being like, my kid just dropped out of high school today, and they're going to be the best people ever.
On that topic of like, you know, when you fail and then you learn and then you become who you are based on all these things, sometimes we say our kids just have it too good. Like, we're married, they have all this good stuff. Where are they going to build the resilience?
Well, I just read an article this week which made me feel so much better, because it was like, is it possible to overspoil your child? And they said that having your children having too much is not having too little is what builds their character. It's the relationships you build with them. Yes. They're more likely to mimic kindness and love based on what they experience, not how much they have.
Yeah,
so
totally.
And you know, it's how you remove barriers for them, which is actually like, if they fail the test and you go in and tell the teacher that they didn't actually fail it, that they should
parents really do that all the time.
What is that called? Bulldozer parent?
Yeah. Oh fuck, we don't even
know. I'm a survivalist parent. I just do whatever it takes to survive.
Well, when you're doing week on, week off, it's harder to bring
so we have like it's a weird shift. So I have my kids Wednesday through Sunday. So it's like they split in the middle of the week, which is so impractical, because like they come home with their stuff. They come off the bus with their stuff. God. And so we transition midweek. So school and everything, it's very disjointed. I don't recommend this schedule, but it's what we had to work with. And
you're 50-50?
50-50.
Wow. That's the way I guess it should be when you have two loving parents. But because a lot of people are like every Wednesday and every other weekend. That was with my siblings.
I would have loved that. So basically how it works in the legal system is if both parents want 50-50, then you have to disprove the other person needing that. So it's a whole other process. So it makes more sense to just, if both parents want to be equally like split, then you have to create that schedule, and that's like what works.
And that's nice that, you know, when there are two parents who want them equally.
Yeah.
Biggest misconception about you?
I think a lot of people are surprised that I'm really nice in real life, and that takes me back a little bit, because or like that I look the same or things like that, because I think that we've gotten so used to seeing falsified realities of people and their personalities.
I love that she said, everyone's like, wow, you look so good in real,
but it's so true,
because we look like shit show online.
Or they also are like, you're actually the same, and I'm like, are you surprised? Like, I hope I'm the same in real life.
They always say that, eh? Like, you're exactly what you are online. But I guess there are people, and we have experienced, and I'm sure you have too, people's personalities and what they perceive online, and then you meet them in real life, and you're like,
I've definitely had both sides of it, for sure. It's almost like a relief when somebody you've known and built a relationship with online, when you get to meet them and you're like, oh my gosh, you're actually who I wanted you to be.
Oh, I wanted you to be.
You're the same thing. So I would say that would be one. Every once in a while, people are like, I don't know, it's hard. I think because I work in like a lot of like I guess it's considered self-acceptance, but more like I like to talk about like body confidence more than anything, and like neutral thinking. But people really get upset that I still love hair and makeup, and I just can't let I can't let that part of me go, because
why?
I don't know. Because
not you let go, but why are they upset?
I think because for a lot of people, when they see a conversation around confidence or acceptance, that means that you have to go all the way down this natural path. And for me, it would actually completely dishonor who I am, because I love that first part of the morning where I get to put my makeup on. I love doing my hair. It actually makes me feel different. Like and I still share the other side of me with like wet hair and like no makeup. I share both.
That drives me crazy.
It's actually an act of self-love for me when I'm doing that. Like I talk a lot about how self-love, we always expect to be a feeling, but it's actually an action. It's more motion than emotion. And so for me, like touching my face in the morning, putting my makeup on, it feels like this tangible start of the day act, and it really does change who I am. If I start the day and I'm like, you know what, pajama day, I'm the least productive person. So even if I'm
to get on this train.
I'm so good at like getting myself together. It's like people when they're job hunting and they say, when you're job hunting, get up, put a suit on, put a blazer on, dress for it, like put your mind in that headset. It really does change me.
You know, I'm going to be very productive today, not wearing my Lulus and
with a glass of Prosecco.
Guys, look at us. It's amazing.
But I actually already, guys.
It's like I feel more productive when I feel like I've gotten ready for the day in a certain way. And as an entrepreneur or somebody who works for themselves, that used to be part of, like, I used to be at the office at like 7 a.m.
The blows our minds, these people who go to the office every day. Blows our fucking mind.
Well, I used to have to work
so
early because I was working 2 jobs for a season. So I would serve at night times. I had to work an early shift at the office from 7 to 3 so that I could get to my dinner shift for like 4:30.
Did you make more money serving?
I made a lot of money serving.
So did I.
Talk about that a lot. It was such a good,
like, fun.
Oh, so fun.
And you get to talk to people. It's so, we should go
Oh,
waitress
and you
for a
know
little
what?
bit.
I can't.
You know what, too?
I could not serve. I could only be the person who took them to the table.
You can follow me, and I'd
I
like, and
follow
then we
you.
can
Yeah,
go for the, yeah.
You actually learn so much because you learn the resiliency of like setting your emotions aside for a period of time, not to like not deal with them, but they are kind of checked at the door. You learn serving people and like having to work through somebody giving you like pressure back.
I
You have
believe
to, like,
everybody
go-
The cat says all of our kids need to be served.
Yeah, 100%. I've said the same thing.
And I knew it was time to quit when I went to go do something, and they were like, and then this, and I go, and you mean please, right? Like, because they didn't say please, and I was like, and you mean please, and I was like, oh shit, it's time to quit. Like, the minute people's like, you know, dismissiveness became
the snapping of the fingers.
and I
kind
was
of
like,
got
just settle the fuck down. Bring it to, I'm working really hard.
There are rude people,
such rude
and you
people.
really see it.
And derogatory and sexual, like
That's
they
why
like grab you.
I
like,
couldn't serve because I was afraid of like boys, like guys, like,
they're
trying
really
to hit
rude.
on me, and I wouldn't know what to do.
They leer
That's why
at
I'll do.
you,
I'll,
they,
I'll,
like,
I'll
leer
stand
at
beside
I do
you.
not everywhere.
Yeah,
I don't go
when
around
you're
them often.
I have 1% male following because I'm like, oh, they're so like I don't know.
I don't
like,
go
I need
around
to
them.
build my
We don't-
feelings.
Only our strippers and our husbands. And our strippers are great.
I have to tell you, the strippers have taught me more in life than they have taught. And like, I wish there
They're
was.
just so
I
grateful.
feel that.
They're so grateful.
They're
Well,
grateful.
well, almost.
They're grateful, and they've had the hardest lives of people I know. They smile every day. They're like, what can I do to help you? I feel like we're like, oh, everyone's like strippers, and I'm like, they're just people who don't have an option, and often
Nobody chooses to go out and be a stripper.
and often they can't. They're not from like this isn't their first language necessarily.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you try being someone from another country.
Strippers
who
are nice
isn't-
guys. Just
They're
if
really,
you're looking for a third
and they're
husband.
not. It's like they're not dirty.
A third husband.
Lose for a second.
Well, she's
Well, I
had
have
one
one
or
right
two.
now.
Oh, for your next one.
This
She's
is
just like,
this is Natalie
This is
projecting.
your long-term plan.
This is her projecting on. Just so
If
you
you
know.
ever get another husband, think about a stripper. I've thought about it.
Nat has a dream of an island with a stripper. They're very accommodating.
Yeah, they're complicated. but-
Island stripper.
Yeah.
Like we just.
No, I'm taking him to the island with me.
Yeah, with her.
He's living there.
I
Oh
love
god, I
living
did
there.
have a really good question, but we
I
went
wanna
right
know-
off to strippers.
But I want to know, like, okay, so now one part of you, like on your Instagram, there is a lot of posts where you don't have your clothes on.
Yeah.
Now, number one, why do you think that's so important for, like, you're putting it out there not just because you want to take your clothes off, but you're doing it because for the people?
Yeah.
Why?
Goes back to really how I felt. So years ago, Joanna Griffiths from NYX, where she's CEO, she asked me to model, and at the time I didn't really have a big following, and she was like, I really want you to model, and I was like, no. And she was like, we're not doing the shoot without you. And so I was like, okay. So I went, and this is like right at I just started to gain weight. I was like, I was just trying to step into this new realm. I literally had tiptoed my way into like barely sharing a stretch mark. I just knew I wanted to normalize some of the stuff that I felt really alone in. And I did the shoot with them, and they published the photo, and it was from a low angle of my stomach with the underwear on. And I mean, it doesn't matter how well-fitting underwear is, everything, my body is squishy, so everything kind of looks squishy. And I was like, oh gosh, when I saw it, I like literally sucked in a breath, and like my heart began to race. And then I read the comments, and women were like, I've never seen a body like this. I've never seen one like mine. This would be 3 years ago.
Wow.
2-3 years ago, yeah. So they were like echoing the same thing over and over, and all of a sudden I was like, wait a second, there's others like me? Like, I knew in theory that they might exist, but to see people comment, not to me, but to NYX, and saying, I've never seen a woman with a stomach like mine. I didn't know others existed. And it made me realize that regardless of the whole body positive movement and all of this stuff and people owning their bodies, there were so many parts that were still holding me back. And I knew that if we were so saturated with this one image of a woman, what if we started saturating it with something different? And I really wanted to start representing it. There's no part of me that's like, oh, I really want to post my stomach naked. There's no part of me that wants that. Yeah. That is not something that makes me feel good. But it feels like an act of love. It feels like an act of sharing and connecting, and I want to normalize something that is truly so normal, but we just haven't seen it. And sometimes it feels really weird to like, how do you deprioritize your body by showing it? But truly, it's no longer a distraction for me. I can't even explain it anymore, but I don't look
letting
at the
your
mirror
secret out.
Yeah, the secret's out. So I'm like, I see myself now. Like, I was the one who wore the t-shirt in the bedroom with my husband and walked backwards out of the room.
I think
my
that's
cellulite.
a lot of women. I
It's
think
a
that's
lot of
still
women.
a lot of women who do that. And I think it's also more than just how they feel about their body. I think
Yeah.
it's how they, I think it's just about how we've been brought up and how we, like, I think that the bedroom especially, holy fuck.
It is, and it's so, it's such an interesting conversation.
Just the face.
Honestly, I like the mood set of the lights off anyways, but I understand that, like, whatever.
I know they like to see it, but the face, I'm like,
They like to see it.
They like to see it. I mean,
They like
boys,
to see
they
it
don't give
all.
a, the
They
girls
really
care,
don't.
boys
We
don't.
care so
oh my
much.
gosh, boys are like, giving me, they would probably take a lifeless body. Like, they don't, they just want something that's breathing and they can play with. That's all they
My
want.
husband was so respectful around, like, because when we started dating, he has no children, I have children. So already I'm stepping into this and I'm scared as hell. His previous girlfriend was a yoga instructor, so I was like, huh.
Yeah.
So our whole relationship, where there was definite rules, like unspoken and unspoken, he was never to touch my stomach. Ever. Like, that was not going to be allowed.
My C-section scar is so sensitive. I'm kind of like,
that can
don't
be
touch
different.
me. I'm like, oh god, it's.
I remember one time we were laying on my side and he went to, like, spoon me, and I guess he accidentally, like, he hit his hand against my stomach, and we both went like this, and then in instinct, I took his hand and I put it on my stomach while I'm laying on my side, so literally it's pooled like melting ice cream down one side of me.
Yeah.
And I just began to weep because I was like, I have stripped myself of the opportunity to be held and loved. Like, he's wanted to love me and that I've wanted to be loved, because I told myself that my stomach was this barrier between me and him. And ever since that moment, I'm like, he sees me all the time. I feel so much more free. And I'm like, it's amazing the roadblocks we put in our minds for how this all exists. But it's just, I can't even
How long into
explain
your
it.
relationship was that?
We were married. Wow. We were married. So he had never really even touched my stomach before I got, it's just, and the thing is, it's very, very common, because in a society that doesn't really encourage change and growth, it can be really hard for women, especially when they go through postpartum, this almost like traumatic change. And there's so much messaging around getting your body back and not moving your body forward. So we have the bounce back. I talk about bounce forward, because there is no going back. We're not going that direction. So
No,
we're
never going
why
that
are we
direction.
going, I mean, even our hips like shift like an inch out, so our jeans aren't going to really fit the same. Nothing's really going to be the same. And I had a friend who was a really good example of this. She was like, she's like, I'm fit now, but I didn't have the time, money, and energy to be fit like I am now when I had 2 young babies on my hips at home. Like, that way, it's a different season for so many, and for some it comes off like this, and for others it doesn't at all.
The
For some,
first
it's
comes
like
off,
10
the
years.
second doesn't, the third, like, everyone's different.
We change, so
We changed. And we're still,
Yeah.
and the thing is, the body you have to date, like 15 years from now,
Yeah.
you're going to wish, like, your body's only going to age
Yeah.
and change, and we beat ourselves up. And then if you went back, like, 20 years ago, you probably hated your body back then, but you would have given everything
you would have
to
given,
go back then.
exactly. And that's such an important thing. But coming back to, like, this imagery and, like, posting nude,
Ah.
one of the big things that
You're good at bringing
we
it back.
struggle with is that we have always sexualized a woman's body.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, so it can be sexual, it's allowed to be sexual, but that is not our core purpose. We're not on this planet for the purpose of male pleasure. So we're allowed to show our bodies, we're allowed to celebrate them. It doesn't have to be an act of, like, promiscuity.
Right.
And it actually has caused me to look at my body more as an art form, and I appreciate other women's bodies more as an art form. And I find that the more diverse bodies that I follow, the more it makes me see that, you know what, there's actually so many more than that one facet that we thought was
Oh my
beautiful.
God, 100%.
There's so, like, everyone being so different, and we weren't designed to all look the same. Like, we just weren't. We're not genetically supposed to look the same. What an unrealistic goal to put on ourselves.
I lived in Africa, and the women there, I was disgusting, like being this thin.
Oh.
It's the opposite. They would pad themselves to.
Because it makes them look wealthy, because they have money for food.
They would
See?
put pads and pads and pads on them. And they're like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I'm doing the best I can here. And they were like, eat. I'm like, I am eating. But they were like, the smaller you are, the uglier you are.
Isn't that so
They
funny?
also couldn't understand why people stole kids, kidnappers.
Oh.
Like, what the fuck is that?
Why would you take
Yeah. I'm like, because kids would walk by themselves. I'm like, aren't you? What are you kidnapping with?
Wow.
Mind-blowing. Maybe for money, but not grown children walking down the street.
Huh.
Isn't that crazy? And if you
That
stole from
is.
someone, you could get killed for it. Like, you would never take, where here we steal for more. They don't.
Right.
Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation.
It's also really important, regardless of different pockets of the world and, like, what their standards are for a body. Just look at historics, like history, and, like, how how we've actually changed what a woman should like.
Yeah, and you
in
can't
every single
just
decade.
do that.
You can't. Like literally, it's gone so many. Like we literally glamorize like the Kate Moss thinness, and now it's like you have to have big boobs and a butt.
Oh,
and then back in like the 50s, you had to. It was Marilyn Monroe. You had to be curvy. They used to sell fat pills in the stores.
Yeah.
So every decade is a new standard. So it really is important for us to do the best we can to honor our own body, live what feels healthy for us, live what feels good for us, be okay with changing,
How
be
does
okay
someone
with
do
the
that?
flow.
Do you ever feel embarrassed that when you go to like pick up and drop off and
But like we share
kids are best kids,
we
so
share real estate.
she doesn't have to go to the school.
Like we have to go pick up every day, and like we posted our bum rash, like just because that was, you know what I mean, like we had a rash on our ass from the beach, and I was walking.
But they look good, the bums.
Okay, they do.
Yeah, I sent it to my friends, and they were like, "Wow, I wish my bums looked like your guys' bums." I was like, "Yeah."
I walked in and I was just kind of like, "Hey," everyone's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Hey, you see my ass?" Like, you know, parent-teacher interviews, how's it going? Like, because when you share, not just the ass, when we're sharers, you're share, like we're sharers, and then people know it's a vulnerable thing constantly, even in. Everywhere we go, everyone kind of knows your whole story.
Of course, but I think that it all comes down to your why. Why do you guys do this? Why do you guys do what you do? Because you want other women to not feel so alone.
Yeah.
So if that means a sacrifice in certain aspects, and everyone has their line of what is an overshare and what feels like not good to share. And I would never I wouldn't walk around being like, everybody needs to share their body on the internet and then you'll feel better about yourself.
Right.
No, that's not reality.
Everyone in the audience are gonna start. Wait, but Sarah said no. That's not what I said.
But I mean, it's whatever it is that makes you feel more connected. And I think that we're growing up in a time now. Well,
like how can women feel like you?
How can women feel like
you? How can they liberate themselves and feel like if you were like to write a book?
Are you writing a book?
I mean, I've been asked to, but no, I haven't started. It feels like a lot of work.
I mean, I feel like when you talk, you could write that book.
We can chat later. We're on our second one.
I think it's so interesting because it really is down to how we view ourselves and how we view the world. And my biggest point that I've always tried to make with people is when you think about the people you love the most, you're most attracted to, that you're most bonded to, whatever you most look up to, name the top 5 things that you love about them.
Go ahead. Carry on. I'm listening.
It's so easy.
I'm never going to name you look great. And I'm never going to name your body and your hair and your eyelashes as like the things that I love the most about you. I'm going to say that your infectious laugh and the way you smile and the way you make me feel safe and you're a really good hugger and like I love that you wear shoes in the house. They're not qualities that have anything to do with what we look like.
But how does someone explain? So if they're not told that, if they have like, you know, as our audience, a lot of moms, and they're constantly giving, and you know, you're often beat up as a mom just because your kids take it out on you, and like how I know it's like focused, like we say expect what you expect of your children, which is we expect way higher of our children than we expect of ourselves, right? And we expect our children are going to grow up happy, confident people, but meanwhile we're sitting there being like, I suck, I'm terrible, I didn't make the rainbow cake today with the gumballs out of it, you know, like all of that shit. How would you advise a woman to maybe like one little thing they can do to like just maybe set their intentions straight?
Yeah. Well, the one thing to remember is every single moment of every day we're having 2 different types of thoughts, either negative or positive, and we really do have choice in them. So it might seem like we don't, but when we would talk to our kids about like talking to a bully, would we tell them to confront them? Would we tell them to fight them? Or would we tell them to walk away? And in our minds, we have this narrative that's been built upon society, experience, other people's ideas for us. And we do have to start changing what that looks like and start rewriting that narrative. And it doesn't come overnight. And I would say it does take self-awareness, I would say, is the biggest piece, because we're so good at noticing when things are really, really good and really, really bad. But the stuff all in the middle is usually the stuff that creates our bottom line. Just like if you're having an incredible meal out, you would talk about that. And if you had a really shitty meal out, you would talk about that. But the meals we're having every day, that's what's actually nourishing us. So the thoughts we're having every day are actually building upon themselves. So how are we feeding that? Are we following people online that are enforcing a really shame-free message? And if for whatever reason we're feeling triggered and shame, we have to identify that. It's not always like this big shock and awe moment or this over the moon, like, oh, I feel so amazing. Those are the highs and lows. But in the middle, if we're willing to be self-aware and we're willing to listen to our thoughts, we can start paying attention to what we actually feel good around and what we don't feel so good around. Start changing our thoughts and our dialogues and having that choice. And I mean, it does take, for some it might be really fast.
Yeah.
But it is something to practice like anything else.
Okay, this is going to be a weird question.
Yeah, no, you go for it.
If you, okay, so I feel, and I'm not an expert in this and I'm totally learning.
I'm not an expert in anything. So
no, okay, so maybe it's not the answer you can answer, but I feel badly for the women who are doing all the beach, like who are, you know, selling the beach bodies and because I feel like they're sometimes getting shamed for wanting to change. They're like, where does this fall for women who like want to work out or want to get fit and do want to lose weight if they have, like, is that okay now? Or like,
diet culture and weight loss are not the same thing.
This is such an important topic. Okay.
Very, 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 very different. Anything that is lifestyle, that is like improving your wellness or makes you feel good, you should be allowed to do. At the end of the day, if we're going to use the term body positive, I believe the most body positive thing you can do is have authority over your body. Honor each other's choices. Be okay with her doing something for her body than you're doing for your body.
Totally.
We're allowed to live different lives. What's not supposed to happen is shaming each other for the differences in what our choices are. And so I feel like it can feel so combative and people think like, oh, it's so bad that we're having all this stuff. But if you are somebody who's working, let's say even in the Beachbody realm, because I know people who do it and they're so amazing at focusing on, you know, feeling good and focusing on working out for reasons beyond just losing weight. But you know what? Your body might release weight. And it's really great when there's people who work in nutrition and they teach you about food and like what makes you feel good. It's going to look really different for everyone. I have a ton of allergies, so I never will talk about what I eat in a day because guess what? I would never want that for somebody else because they have a totally different makeup of a body than I do, right? So all of our bodies are designed completely different. Our minds are different. Some of us make choices for ourselves that are totally healthy. And for some of us, it's like, you know, there's some people who can't not wear makeup because they feel so insecure and they will go literally to the beach and in the water with a full face of makeup on. And then there's other people who will judge a woman when she chooses to wear makeup, when she just feels like it. There's so much different judgments and all these things all around. Let everybody do what they're going to do. If you're projecting what you feel is right onto other people, I think that's when you're wrong. Because you can be so right in everything you're doing, but you can't project. I can't walk around saying like people are doing wrong because they're losing weight or that they're, you know, they've enhanced their body in a different way, because guess what? That's who I was like 3 years ago, doing a lot of different things. And for me, it was unhealthy, but for other people, it might not have been. We can't really blanket this whole thing.
When we go and do shit at the dermatologist's office, because they're like, you preach authenticity. I'm like, actually, we don't preach anything. We just do what we do. And then we are like, we won't even give advice on parenting. Like, we're like, we're not mama. We're fucking not an expert in any realm. We just go every day what we feel like. Some days,
and it's community, right? It's like figuring that out together and what that looks like. And I think that if we could just take a step back and recognize that we're all just doing the best we can and with the best of the knowledge that we have right now, and understand that for a lot of people they are, and as you, especially if you have a platform, they will project onto you what they want of you. And you have to really honor your own journey in that, because you know what? I might be doing a lot wrong right now and I don't even see it yet.
Yeah, you might not see it for 5 years from now.
And then 5 years from now, I'm like, wow, I was really different then. And look how I've grown and look how I've changed. Like, that's what the human experience is.
And that's what we say too to everyone. Like, you can change your mind. Like, I might say,
you're allowed to change your mind.
Every day I can wake up and say, actually, I decide to make this decision in my parenting. I mean, consistency is great in parenting, but like in any way, my view on anything could change tomorrow, and I'm allowed to do that.
You're allowed to do that. And I think that it's one of the most amazing things when we see that ability to change, because a lot of times it can be really frustrating in a society where people feel so combative and so judgmental. Recognize that everybody can change their mind. And even if somebody's there right now, how can we gracefully, you know, validate that they have those feelings right now, that they're in that lifestyle right now, not judge them, support them, be that landing pad for them.
Or just, and who gives a fuck what anyone else is doing? Girl, like that,
it doesn't impact you.
It
really doesn't. And I understand it in a realm where, like, if somebody is dangerously promoting something, of course, but we still have to let people live their lives. We just watched a woman commit suicide in the UK last week after being bullied so viciously online.
Beast over there.
And, you know, it's really opened us up to this conversation of, are we ready to stop judging women? Are we ready to take a step back and start supporting each other? Like, this women supporting women thing, unless you're willing to actually do it, and it's uncomfortable sometimes. It's really uncomfortable.
Well, I think we have to stop judging ourselves before we can stop judging. I think it starts with, like, I hear my daughter's soccer team, and my daughter said something this weekend, and she basically was like, oh, I'm so bad at this. And I'm like, first of all, you're not.
Yeah.
And then I said, it's like when your friend in the car goes, oh, I only got a 3, like there's levels 1, 2, 3, 4. I only got a 3+, or like a 4+ in math. And I'm like, you got a 1. So how did everybody else feel when the 4+ is the best? And she's saying how terrible she is in that subject. And I'm like, everyone who got less than that person, and she knows it's not, everyone knows it's the best fucking mark you can get when you self-deprecate yourself. In a negative way, not in a like, I'm like you just put everyone else down around you who might, you know, like, I'm so fat. Well, this person beside you is bigger, and they're like,
and fat can't be such a morally bad thing, just as skinny can't be a morally good thing. I was literally going through divorce, so thin, and people were like, oh my gosh, congrats, like, on all your success. And I'm like, my whole life is falling apart inside.
She was like postpartum depression with the baby, anxious, not eating, like, you look so good. She's like,
but we've been taught, and we can't really get mad at people when they give those compliments, because we've been taught that is a compliment. Just like we've been taught that food has moral value, that there's good and bad food, that there's this, that. It is really, really important that we start removing a lot of that. And if we really want to be supporters of each other, be okay with other people being wrong sometimes, or being in a season where they're learning, or being like, if you see a woman and you're like, I think she's doing everything wrong, just show up and be a friend. Like, even if you think that you can comfortably have a conversation with her, or if you have feelings of concern, have them in a way that is like a non-judgmental tone, because all of us are just figuring it out. All of us are just going through it. All of us like don't know what we're doing, and we're showing up every day trying our best.
No one knows what the fuck. Nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody.
And people need to talk about that more.
And also successes.
Doctors probably know what they're doing. I hope
no. Sometimes no. Hopefully.
Do you watch Grey's Anatomy? They guess all the time. They're like, I think it might be.
No, I don't. But oh gosh, I hope a surgeon knows what he's doing.
Well, yeah, most of them do.
Before we go, any regrets in anything in life?
No, you know what? That would be so dishonoring to the journey. There's things that I've done wrong, but that wrongness taught me something every single time. Every failure has taught me something. Every bit of all of it has, like, even a marriage that I probably stayed into way too long, it brought me 3 kids and a perspective to appreciate what a good relationship is now. It's all for something, and if we're willing to alchemize the bad in our life into something big, well, it's just, you know, the process. Yeah. But like, just we can turn it into something good, and I have no room, I have no capacity to be weighed down by regrets. I only have capacity to learn and to move forward, and with a willingness to be wrong and sometimes to get it really right. So
it's funny, a lot of men have regrets, which is interesting. Like when we've talked, the ones we've talked to have regrets, and the women have not, which is super.
I will say I do have one regret.
Oh.
But it is, again, a lesson.
Imagine she was like, coming here today. I really regret this. Really regret it.
I regret not being a participant in my children's lives for a good, solid time, because I put my body as the most important part of me, and why I couldn't be a participant. I wouldn't go to the beach, I wouldn't swim with them, I wouldn't toboggan, I wouldn't do all of these things because I had so much shame in what I looked like, and I can't get that back.
Would they know that? Would they see that? Would they see that as you?
They definitely, we've had conversations about it before, and they always talk about how mommy used to be and how mommy is.
So
they very much notice a difference, and I have to say, like, actionable steps, like things like a divorce, things like therapy, things like stepping back into my kid's childhood, even when it's super uncomfortable to be in a bathing suit around other moms who look nothing like you. Those are all, like, it's
but you know, all the moms are thinking about them, not looking like you. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're all going to be like, oh my god, I've got an itchy badge and I can't itch it. Like, literally, or is there hair? Like, did I miss? Like, you know, sometimes I've been sitting there being like, fuck. You know, like, we're all, or like, we're all I've got hairy toes, I didn't wax them.
How do we take that thought outside and start watching our children? How do we take it and enjoy the sunshine on our bodies? How do we take it and enjoy what life is happening in front of us instead of everything that we're thinking on the inside? And so in terms of regret, that is probably the only one, because I can't, even if I've learned from it, I don't get a chance at that again.
But
I don't get to have them a little again. But I get now.
But you could have another.
Don't even. I know we keep talking about it. Shane has no kids. Imagine I had a baby now.
Why?
Oh my God.
You could.
Oh my
like 10 years later, I restart.
Yeah, you should have a baby.
If you're like hard no, if you're like there's not.
No,
enough.
I'm literally on the fence.
Oh, then you're having one.
Oh my God, that's so exciting! You should definitely do it
so badly. She wants a 5th.
I get freaked out because I just want to be. I want to be the hobbyist parent next time. I don't want to. I want to be the one that comes home and like gets to play with them and take them to the park.
Oh, like an aunt that lives next door.
No, more like how dads typically are. Like, I want to be active in their life.
Would he stay
still
home?
want to work.
Would Shane stay home?
Potentially, maybe. If we could
This is
figure it out.
let's call.
But do you know what I mean? Like role
Shane,
reversal
can we
a little bit. Like women typically are the ones, and obviously we have the boobs, so like the first year is kind of that. But there's a lot of
and you not for always, because some people
not for always,
auto-feed, right?
Of course,
and the adoption people like use
yeah,
that, right?
yeah.
There's a lot of women
that is best. 100%.
And a lot of women go back to
I would
work in
definitely
3 weeks.
No, but I would definitely, if I were to do it, if I was to have a baby now, like you say, I would realize that I shouldn't just be like the one person who can do it all.
I want to be part of a village of
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of
yeah.
us who raise this child together, because that's eventually where I fell into. But
Our
for a long
babies
time,
are
it was,
like that.
That was only me.
Our babies are like that because
They get raised by everyone.
Yeah.
Because we started younger, and they're the only ones who will say to us like, "Have a great," like we've now flipped the script. I'm not sorry for going away. Mommy's going away. Wish me a great trip. So we're not like, I'm so sorry. This is how many days like we.
Well, children grow up watching their fathers go on work trips all the time, and it's never an issue.
I
And
don't
women do it,
care.
and you're like, oh wow, you really leave your family a lot. I'm like, oh, I'm working. Like I don't really know what else to say.
Uh-huh.
So I really want to have an opportunity to parent in a way where it's not all falling on me, and that I actually get an opportunity to share.
This is it.
That'd be really fun. I think you should do that. Just watch the experience for me.
Just so you can. I already said to my husband, I'm like, if we ever had a baby, can I like? Because I was watching Brianna's like home birth, and I was like, can we have the baby in the living room so like all the children can gather around and I'll like give birth in this water tub? And he's like, Sarah, I don't even like the kids having a juice box in the living room.
Oh my God.
You have a baby in here? And I was like, you're ruining this for me.
You're my moment of thinking.
He just has to say yes. Does he want one?
He is very like whatever you want.
Okay.
And it's hard when you have grown-ups in the house, like big children.
Built-in babysitters, you mean?
Oh, that's my oldest. Is the only one. She's like, am I gonna have a baby all the time?
How old is she?
14.
Oh, so she's.
I only have 3 years with her left.
She's
3 summers left before
girl,
she goes to school.
Don't think that way. We're closer to our moms than we've never have been, and we need them all the time. And what I hear is everyone leaves and comes back. They're
I came back at age 30 to my parents.
They're only
great
gone as long as they'll be back, and you'll see them, and you'll go on vacations. Oh, God.
I know it's gonna be.
Everyone
good.
who says 18 summers, I'm like, I don't know what world you live in, but my kids plan to. We plan to have lots of time together forever. They might not do that, but well, thank you for joining us. Where can they find you all?
Find me on the Birds Papaya on Instagram. You'll find all of the stuff from there. We have an insider group. There's a Facebook page. I don't really hang out there too much, but Instagram. I spend 4 hours a day in the DMs and comments. So hopefully we can connect if you ever need to.
Are you on TikTok?
No,
not yet.
I'm a mother of a TikTok. So my kids have been on TikTok for 5 years.
Yeah.
It's really weird for me to think about shifting into it myself.
Yeah.
Because I've been just watching them do
and
it.
it's so much there's so much content to
I
be
can't
made
dance, guys. I'm like, unless I have enough alcohol in me to make me think I can dance, I can't dance, and that's okay.
Do you hate the question, what's next?
I do a little bit.
We hate it.
It doesn't. I don't ever know what's next. I could never have predicted anything right now.
That's what everybody.
And I feel like 2019, I said my word was that I was going to be listening. I never wanted a podcast, and I had a podcast. I hit number one within a day, and I was like, oh, I guess I should have a podcast.
Yeah.
It's fun when life is a bit of a surprise. Yes. I also never had a birth plan because I was if things go wrong or differently than I thought, then I'll be disappointed in life. I like being surprised.
That's like too much work. I was like, I can't even make a plan. You want me to make one for a baby? That's crazy talk.
I just knew if it went a different way, I was then going to be stressed and disappointed. And I kind of feel the same way about life. Like, it's not that I have zero goals or ambitions. It's more like I want to work every day and I want to show up exactly who I am. I want to change my mind when I want to change my mind.
Yep.
And I don't know what that's going to look like. Am I going to write a book? Maybe. I don't know. Like, it has to come to me. There has to be, like, actual steps. And I won't do anything that I don't feel like I'm 100% in for.
Neither do we. We just fail if we do. We just started at something like, this isn't going to work.
It's not for us. Yeah.
No,
yeah,
God,
yeah.
you know how many times it's not for us? Not for us. We're not doing that anymore. And
and
our team's like, what happened? Yeah, it's not for us.
No.
All the time. Now we're not doing that anymore. But you never told me. Sorry about that. We're not doing that shit anymore.
Change our mind.
Literally. All the shows we do, we're doing something different tonight. Everyone's like,
they know to prepare. They're like, this is when a new team person comes on tour, this is the outline, but the girls always change it last minute.
So like,
oh my
before
God,
we go on stage,
come to one of your shows.
we're like,
what's your last one?
Oh God, they're a shit show. They're fun.
I love that though.
They're really
We're
fun.
going to London tonight.
Oh my God,
We've
London,
led to London, England. We're going worldwide, darling.
Oh my God, that's my goal to be in UK 2020.
Okay.
To go like for fun.
Yeah, I just want to go. I just have a lot
Just
of there's a lot of community people out there.
There is. There's a lot of great people over there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great people.
Online friends.
Exciting!
Yeah.
It's
It's almost a closer flight than LA, by the way.
Oh, LA is the worst.
We feel that we go fucking batshit. I'm swearing a lot today, guys.
Wow.
I'm
You
going
actually aren't.
Really?
Yeah, you've done way worse before.
I know I have.
With the big hoops, they're bringing out the big attitude.
Okay, we could talk all day.
Yes.
But Lexi's gonna have to edit this. Do you edit everything yourself?
No.
Oh.
Delegate. Honestly, be if you want to be a champion for women, a great way you can do is like
Hire other women to do it for you.
I'm not really good at cleaning my house. I hire that out a little bit too.
Yo, fuck, so do we.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm one step
It's
away
the
from
economy.
Yeah. All right, bye guys. Thank you for joining us.
Cheers.
Bye.
Oh yeah, and if you don't like this, don't say anything. If you like it, subscribe and leave a comment.
Don't be mean.